Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Thanks for dropping in. Welcome to our channel. If you're a returning subscriber, great. If you're new, hey, please consider subscribing and hit that thumbs up button, obviously. I've got a little bit of a head cold, so if I cough or sneeze, forgive me. I'll try and edit it out. Think it's kind of important. It's Mike and Arlene, except Arlene is not here today. She's still in the province. We were in the province for a month. When I say we were in the province, I was there with her the whole time, finishing up a construction project, and inadvertently, we started another project. And so, hey, you got to be around for this kind of stuff. And it overran our ticketing, and I wanted to get back. A month in the province was enough for me, so Arlene stayed an extra week. She'll be back in a couple more days. Yes, I am not an attorney here in the Philippines. In fact, I'm not an attorney anywhere. I've never been an attorney. I've always hired attorneys, and that's the first thing I suggest you do is hire an attorney. But since you've decided that you want to think about buying land, building a house, residing in the Philippines, then you've got some myths you've got to get by, and you've got some conditions under which it is. Traditionally, the urban myth is you cannot, as a foreigner, you cannot own dirt in the Philippines, land. That is not absolutely true. There's a way to do it. Actually, there are two ways to do it, and I'm going to tell you both ways. So hang on, here we go. And again, my suggestion is this is being shot on, what is today? You lose track here. On November 27th. 2022, and who knows what the law may be on November 28th. In the first example, you and your partner, girlfriend, wife, whatever, you've decided you want to buy land and do whatever, whether it's build a home, farm, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're going to make the assumption that you're wanting to build a home. Well, yes, you can. First off, I can tell you right now, we own property here, a condo, and we own land in the province of Mindanao, on the island of Mindanao. My name is on the title of both of them. I technically own that land. Do I have any rights? Well, in the condo, I have every right here that I would have in the U.S. On the land, I don't have every right, but to say that I don't own it and to say that the land is that I don't have rights to it, that's wrong. And the people and the vloggers that tell you you can't buy land, well, they're not absolutely correct. Can you, as a single individual, walk into a real estate transaction and buy land? No, you can't. Oh, gee, there's that urban myth. Yes, you can. And there's a way to do it. But first, let me tell you the first way, because it's the most common way. It's the smartest way. And it is the way that you should do things. Now, I'm going to get some harsh criticism on it, and I'm going to get people that say, well, that's not fair, and look, let me tell you, you're protecting your investment. And that means you as an individual just as much as it means you and a partner. So, how do you do it? Well, let's make an assumption. All right, we have to make an assumption And there are some exceptions to every rule. But let's make an assumption that you have done everything. You've found the land, it has a clean title, you've done a survey to make sure that the title actually matches the land, you've got a legally binding executional agreement to purchase the land, all the taxes are paid, etc., etc., etc. I'll do another blog on that someday. Well, you've already done, if that's all you've done, you've already screwed it up. In the Philippines, you should have a prenuptial agreement. Now, you can have a binding agreement with a non-married partner as well. However, prenuptial agreements are very common in the Philippines, very legal in the Philippines, and wealthier Filipinos use them all the time to guard their assets. So you have a prenuptial agreement, and that prenuptial agreement says that any acquisition of any assets during the course of the marriage, should anything happen, are divided equally. Well, that's not exactly how it works. You need a prenuptial agreement that specifically states that there are amendments, and when you purchase land, you amend that prenuptial to include that piece of land. And this is because the way you own land here. You see, your name is on the title, and by law, you have the ability to share in this asset. But if you ever have to share in that asset and go to court, you're in tough shit. Unless something happens. And here's how that works. Your prenuptial has to be fair. It has to be in multiple languages. In other words, most legal documents are enforceable only if they're in English. The Philippine judicial system and legal system is governed under English language. They have a specific name for it. I can't remember what it is. It also should be in your partner's native dialect. So if she's from Luzon, it should be in Tagalog. If she's from Mindanao, it should be in Bisaya. And you can get it even defined further down the road. Now, how do you deal with this? Well, you can't just up and get a divorce and split the proceeds. That's not how it works unless you have a specific amendment and agreement to it. And I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't put a lot of faith in that. But we're going to cover something that is a little different than that. You're here because I hope you've seen the video on retiring in the Philippines. So now you have faith in yourself to come to the Philippines and go down that path. And you've got your mindset on a lifelong relationship with your partner. Okay. What happens if your partner passes away? In the Philippines, there is a law about inheritance. Okay? You may inherit that land. If your prenup defines it, if she has a will that specifically states that it goes to you, if your name is originally on the title, that land becomes yours. 100% free and clear. Nobody can take it as long as you pay the taxes. And the reason that you do this is because you don't want your partner's sister, brother, mother, father, whatever, claiming that, hey, my sister said that if she died, I get her portion of the house. You don't want that to happen. And another caveat that rolls in here is if there are any Filipino children. If there are any Filipino children, there is a succession of inheritance. You still own it, but you only own your percentage of hers. So in other words, your percentage is her percentage, or the entire amount is divided by the number of owners. It's not like you keep 50%, and if there's a child gets 50%. It's not like you own 50%, and if there's two children, they get 25% each. It would have been a third. But can you own land? Yes, you can. Does the unfortunate circumstances of your wife having to pass away? Yeah, that's the way it is. Okay? But you can also protect yourself with an agreement that says that if anything should happen to the relationship, since you're not married, let's pretend you're not married, can you own land? Well, yeah, your name can go on the title, okay? That doesn't mean shit. But you can have an agreement that states that how the disposition of the land works and what your rights are during that time of disposition. That's something that's ready for a whole entire different block. But so you can own land. And don't think that you can't. Just your partner has to pass away. And it has to be your wife. If it's your girlfriend that passes away, no, that doesn't work. So let's say that unfortunately your wife passes away. And let's say you were smart enough to put everything together. You own the land. What are you going to do with it? Well, sad to say, you can't pass it on. And when I say you can't pass it on, you can't pass it on to your non-Filipino relatives. So if you have a child in the U.S., and that child is the sole survivor of your will, well, they cannot inherit it from you. That land will either be given away, or if you're smart, it will have been disposed of prior to. My advice would be, I guess it's a little rude, but my advice would be sell the land before you die, because you have every right to do so, and then pass that money on or proceeds on, or use it to enjoy your retirement even more. So that's the first way. Yes, you can own land. Get an attorney. There are plenty of good ones out there in Manila, in Makati, in Quezon City, in BGC, all right? Spoken with several of them in the past. There is now a second way for you to own land. You can now have a foreign corporation that enjoys almost or a significant number of the same rights as a Philippine corporation does. Now, I'm going to preface this. This is the Foreign Investment Act. This is the changed one that transpired in 2022. And there are a lot of caveats. You have to be in a certain business sector. Okay? You have to conduct business in a certain sector. There's like 7. You have to get that approved. You have to have, I think, the minimum 15 Filipino employees. All right? But you don't have to have any Filipino ownership. That corporation can be 100% owned by you. And as a byproduct of that corporation, the corporation can buy land. And you, if you're the sole owner of that corporation, you now own that land. And what's better is that you can actually turn around and pass on the ownership of that corporation. Now, again, there are caveats involved in that. But there are methods. I'm not trying to explain to you how each one of them moves, how each one of them works, and what's best for you. But what I am saying very clearly, hire an attorney. And don't be hiring a dumbass. Hire a real attorney, somebody that actually knows and has experience with these things. Interview the attorney and ask him point blank, how many of these cases have you worked with? What can I expect? And how does it transact? Prenups can be reasonable. Prenups can be expensive. It all depends on who you see, how you see, and don't be afraid to sit there and talk to them in advance and say, no, you know what? I want this, 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 and this. How do I do it? And how much is it going to cost? And then shop around if you want. None of this is as cheap as walking down the street and buying a condo. But you should have an attorney for that as well, to be honest with you. I still don't see the lack of, I still don't understand the lack of safeguards we as foreigners use for our assets. It seems like we just throw our money around here, not all, but some. And it's simple. That's why foreigners go broke in the Philippines. But that's all time for another blog. Bottom line, yes, you can own land. Yes, there's more than one way to own land. So look, I want to, first off, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Secondly, give me your thoughts and comments, because I think it's interesting that people would think of not using an attorney and not getting a prenup. Now you can get a post-nuptial as well. They are not as common, but they are common, and they are completely, prenups and postnups are completely legal and used here in the Philippines. Well, just got a message. That's Arlene. She's awake. Kind of early here. Have a great day. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Talk to you soon.